Travel Studios. We're here at the AAC kickoff, and I have the leader of the sports world at UTSA, and that is Dr. Campos, Lisa Campos here. No stranger to the broadcast. Lisa, how are you?
Doing so well. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I want to get into the elephant in the room, in my opinion, and that's the fact that Tim Pernetti, the new commissioner of the American, not only mentioned you by name, but said the future commissioner of the American Athletic. What do you think about that?
You know what? What he actually was referring to was my son was sitting next to me, and he was talking about just a joke that he was going to be the future, not me. But I did realize that he didn't say that, so there might be some miscommunication happening there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was an ode to your leadership.
Yeah, no, it was an ode to the 10-year-old next to me and just kind of an inside joke.
Fair enough. So being here and having the opportunity, year number 2 in the American, interesting because year number 1 was Mike Aresco and year number 2 is Tim Pernetti. What can you say about the leadership of Mike Aresco, who is obviously paramount in seeing the value of UTSA coming into the conference, and then now looking at Tim Pernetti?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Tim said it today that Mike has been such an advocate of this conference and has, poured his blood, tears, sweat into this. And, I'm so appreciative and thankful of how he brought us in, but just continued to put the American on the forefront. And for Tim to be able to inherit that. And obviously you all see Tim is really thinking about the landscape of intercollegiate athletics and how we need to continue to be relevant. And so that's really exciting.
For you to obviously be down here in Texas, and my experience of the American initially was out of Rhode Island, and they decided during COVID to move their offices to Irving. You're in San Antonio. I know Texas is a big state, but to have the festivities not too far away, just what that means to you to see the American put so much into Texas and have a lot of representation in the conference with institutions like UTSA.
Yeah, absolutely. We love Texas. We want to be a part of Texas. We are a part of Texas. But yeah, just for the office to be down the road from us, to be able to come participate in these types of events. We have the conference basketball tournament in Texas, so yeah. It's just such a great place to be and a great place to have these types of events, and we're appreciative of the opportunities.
Your son, Christopher, is back here again with more hair.
Yes.
So how do you think he's doing as I had the honor, I believe, of being his first ever interviewer?
You did,
So
yes.
How is he doing in today's world, year number 2 in the American, as I know his suit game is on point, for sure.
And I did not force him to wear that. He wanted to dress the part, and okay. He loves these experiences. And for any athletic administrator, they know that we get limited time with our kids, and it's a lifestyle. And to be able to bring him to events like this is really fun for him to get to know the other student athletes across our league, the other coaches. He had dinner with us last night, got to know some bowl representatives, to have the interview with you last year. I'm shocked he hasn't approached you and said, "Are you interviewing me again?" But it's really a great opportunity to just let him tag along and experience this.
And we look at, when you speak on experience, the world of collegiate athletics, the enterprise, so to speak, is going through a unique experience in the continuation of NIL as well as collectives, and looking at the transfer portal, but now we're looking at this settlement and 22% and what that all means. As a leader, as a vice president for intercollegiate athletics, when you look at the future of just what type of financial component it's going to be for each institution, how do you attack that, and how do you look at the fact that if there is like hey, every year this money needs to be put here, how do you handle that with making sure you have the funds and you can also build, because UTSA has been all about building?
Absolutely. We have been about building over the last several years, and to think about how young our institution is, how young our athletics program is, and football. We are going into our 14th season total.
Yeah.
14th total season. And we're competing against institutions here who've been competing for 100 years, right? So they got a little head start, but I think we're holding our own, and you see how competitive we were in our first year in the American, not just in football and in our other sports. But to Tim's point this morning, we have to be thinking differently. We have to be progressive. I embrace change. I embrace how we think about our student athletes and their experience, and how can we give them, whether it's the revenue share, whatever that looks like, the NIL, how do we continue to build them and give them a great experience?
And one of the unique experiences is the fact that college football is back as a video game.
Yes.
What's it been like to see your student athletes get to play as themselves on this game?
It's been a lot of fun, and you see them here, and even the other student athletes. And I think, to have a hiatus for 10, 11 years and to bring it back, it's bringing college football relevant again, right? People who hadn't been thinking about college football are now in this gaming world thinking about it and talking about it. So it's been a lot of fun to see it.
We're going to jump into rapid fire. You saw your coach do it and put you on the hot seat, put his wife on the hot seat. So what is your first question for me?
First question for you. What was the best, I know summer's not over, but what's been the best thing you've done this summer?
Oh, wow. Best thing that I've done this summer. I would say, honestly, I'm not going to say it's necessarily something that I've done, but I talked with Coach Traylor about faith. And so I was getting ready to go on the air, and I was at my home, and I went down into the basement and I saw water in where my water heater is and all that stuff is, and I thought to myself, oh, okay, like this has happened before. I heard a little drip, and I didn't think much of it. I said, I'll have to take care of this. And I wasn't paying attention. I turned to my right, and there was water on the carpet on the other part of my basement, and my basement's all redone. There's a theater room, and I looked at it, and there was some electronics that were in the water, and I, in that moment, said to myself, I said, I have a show to do. When the show is done, then I will assess this. I'm not going to move anything. I'm not going to pick anything up. It's material stuff. If it's damaged, fine. If it's not, fine. And I sat there, I turned on the camera, I turned on the mic, and I realized in that moment that my faith in God has drastically improved, because I've always talked about faith. But to be in a place where I had a stronger faith and have a stronger faith after having water in my basement and thinking about what that could be and what would ensue from that, I just had a level of calm that really made me feel like I am giving back to God, who's given so much to me, and I could do a better job at that, but I think it was a good start.
That's awesome. So, that's a great story.
My question back to you is, if you, because I do believe this, and I'm not saying this because you're sitting next to me, if you were the leader of the free world, because I do think you have the leadership skills and the ability to handle certain things that maybe other people cannot. If you were running for president this year, I'm going to task you to tell me who your vice president would be and what the first thing is you'd want to do.
Wow, that's a big question. My vice president, you know what? I'm going to tag you. Okay. I'm going to tag you.
Okay. All right.
Let's do this together,
Fair enough.
Because you got to surround yourself by great people, right? And obviously you talk about your faith and just your service and how you do, how you go about your life. And so if not you, we're going to find someone who it is not about them.
Yeah.
They're humble and they want to serve. And, maybe it's Coach Traylor. Maybe we'll all go in tandem together here. That
he can be your Secretary of something. You already picked
That's
me.
Right. That's right.
Sorry, Coach. Secretary of Defense.
There
How about
you
that?
Go. But at the end of the day, it's about surrounding yourself by people who are better than you, and surrounding yourself by people who want to serve and who want to lead and who don't want to make it about themselves.
What would be your first thing we would do?
Oh my goodness.
So you win, and here we go. What are we doing?
We are bringing everyone together in the Senate, the Congress, and we're going to have a great conversation about servant leadership.
I think they could use it. I think we should go there now.
There you go.
What's your next question for me?
All right. If you were not doing this, what's your other passion? What else would you be doing?
So if I wasn't doing this or serving as your vice president,
That's right.
I would be, and the cool thing about that ticket is there would be a Hispanic background in the 100% of that ticket. So, and that would be a first for America. So I would say, what would I be doing? Honestly, there's a lot of things that I'm working on. I love comedy. I inject it into everything that I do on site and in the studio. So I would say that I would unleash my comedy a little more on the world, and then maybe look at. I'm not necessarily a fan of where the movie industry is, but I would love to screenwrite and tell a story, and I think that there's a lot of ideas that I have that would change the dynamic of a lot of characters we've seen and we know, and would challenge them in a way that they haven't been challenged, and I would like the opportunity to do that.
All right. I
So
love it.
Sony Pictures, I'm just saying, there's a Spider-Man universe that you've not necessarily given the people what they want, and I think I could do a better job at
I
doing
love
that.
it. I love that.
So my question back to you, what do you consider your single greatest accomplishment?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I don't know if it's a single greatest accomplishment, but I think, if as people know who I am, it really is about every statistic says I shouldn't be here with an undergraduate degree, let alone a doctorate degree. I shouldn't be sitting here as a Latina athletic director at the FBS level. So I think my greatest accomplishment would be that I just took advantage of so many opportunities provided to me, and I've just been blessed with so many people who have surrounded me and have seen something in me that maybe I didn't, and have pushed me to be here. And so I would say I'm so grateful for everyone who's touched my life and who's helped me get here.
I love that. I can appreciate that. You get one more. What's your last?
Ooh, tell me if you could, this is going to be a good one. If you could change anything about you, what would you change?
If I could change anything about myself, what would I change? I am not a person that lives in regret, so I wouldn't say I change anything about my path. I think I complained to God a lot more than I should have, which was literally any at all, but I think my complaints have turned into humility. I think my humility has turned into appreciation. I think my appreciation has turned into the fact that adversity makes a person, and you cannot become the person that you are without getting pushed. And I think that I have been pushed. You talk about, it being from the Latin community, that you don't think that people statistically think that you should be where you are. I think as someone who went off on his own, who started a business at 26 years old, who left traditional media to join the internet when it was considered taboo, it was considered weird, it wasn't going to be successful. I think in the media world, I'm never going to get an award from my peers. I think that my honesty, my faith, my compassion, my relationship building has been very important to people like yourself, but I also feel like a complete outcast and outsider at really any press conference. And I think that adversity that made me say, why me? I'm nice to everybody. I do my work. I have never had a bad bone in my body towards someone. Why would I get treated this way? And I think that there is a truth to, if you follow Jesus Christ, who had it worse than anybody, that if you're trying to do the right thing and you feel like you're getting beat up doing it, that you're actually moving in the right direction. So I think that it is a severe misstep to throw me in the fire, but I love it, and I always kind of consider myself the Hulk now when you throw me in there. So I would say, would I change anything? Not necessarily, but if I had a bone to pick with my parents, I am a basketball player and I can shoot, but I am 5'8". So I would say, Mom, who's 4'11", and Dad, who's 6 foot, could we have done potentially maybe what Yao Ming's parents did, who were very short, and he was like 7 foot whatever.
Right.
So I'd like that opportunity. But honestly, I wouldn't change anything. I think that my path is, God's been with me the whole time, and if He didn't want me where I am, He wouldn't let me be here.
I love it.
So I wouldn't change anything.
Great answer. Thank you.
Of course. My question back to you is, if you opened a restaurant, since we talked about food before, what would be your 3 main dishes?
Oh, great. I was afraid you were going to ask if I had to cook it, and I think everyone knows I can cook. I can toast bread, and that's about it.
Okay. All right.
So don't make me cook it. But if I were to go enjoy it, my 3, it definitely would have to be like a sesame chicken. I love Chinese food, so something Chinese.
Okay.
It definitely would have to be. I love Mexican food, so I'm going to stick with chicken enchiladas.
Okay.
And then, it's a tough one, either redfish or salmon.
Okay.
So those are, if I had to eat there every day too, I need those three things.
I think that those were actually, according to our statisticians, those are correct answers. So that coming from Lisa Campos here with me, of course, in our coverage of the UTSA Roadrunners and leadership in this conference, as well as leadership across America. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.